QM2 is a great ship, a genuine one-off in a sea full of twins. But it's still far from perfect. Here are 10 things that I love and 10 things that I hate about the only ocean liner left currently in service. I love the tradition. QM2 is just full of old school decor, dark wood and stuff off of the olden days. From the harpers playing as you board to the ritualised afternoon tea, stepping on board QM2 is like stepping back in time, and I'm here for it. This ship still has Skylink internet and an app, of sorts. Admittedly, it seems like it's from the 90s. But you're never in any doubt that QM2 is a proper, traditional ship. A bit like driving a modern Jaguar. It's got sat-nav and Bluetooth, but what you really notice is all the walnut and perforated leather. I hate a certain type of Cunard passenger. If you thought that the decor is from times gone by, then you should hear the attitudes of some Cunard guests. We'll call these people Hyacinths. Hyacinths are too stupid to know the difference between traditional and high-end, and they're too ignorant to understand the difference between a crew member doing a job and a slave. Hyacinths look down on guests from other cruise lines and have a bit of a habit of saying things like, "Oh, well, it's like Butlins at sea," often whilst on their way to queue up with the other sea monsters to remove the gratuities from their account. Speaking of things I hate, click subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. It's fun, traumatic, utterly personal, but completely universal. I love the space. QM2 is big, but it isn't a massive ship these days. But it also has more square feet of public space per person than most. This means that it never feels crowded, there are always loads of places to escape and find some quiet time, and outside the gentle chaos of afternoon tea, you're basically never in a queue. There's never an issue grabbing a seat or a lounger, there's loads of outdoor space on the prom deck and even more up high, and all the usual facilities, indoor pool, a gym that no one ever uses, and loads of bars and lounges that are never too full, and seats dotted around just for the sake of it. And if you thought that such a classic and traditional ship wouldn't have an empty 1980s sleazy nightclub, well, think again. On top of all that, there are dozens of spaces that most ships don't even have, including the enormous library, Connections, which is a couple of meeting rooms and seating areas, just because, Board Game Central, and one of my favourites, the soul-searching corridor, and loads more. I hate that there's no space. Despite Cunard still advertising it widely, including in the actual room itself, the famous QM2 planetarium is dead. It's been gasping its last for a year or two, almost always closed but working for a day or two here and there. This time around, crew admitted that they've given up on trying to repair it now. Illuminations is now just a secondary theatre for talks and movies. It's actually a much nicer theatre than the actual theatre, so it's extra upsetting that it's now barely used. I love the King's Court. Now, King's Court is a buffet, and I hate buffets. No, I don't. I hate British people in buffets. Not having the intelligence to wash their hands on the way in, or worse still, knowing that they should but not doing it anyway, picking food up, putting it down again, stacking plates so high that you have to balance it back to the table and then not eating it all anyway. Crowds of people elbowing their way to the front of the pizza queue and nowhere to sit. But King's Court is massive. There is never any difficulty finding a seat. Most of the time there's a crew member stationed in the entrances telling people to wash their hands, and most people realise that they can get a human-sized plate of food, and then if they want more, just go back and get another, rather than stacking a plate sky high and dropping a trail of hummus and chips behind them. So far, the quality hasn't been cut to keep the fares down, and the variety is great. I hate that I booked a trip that included room service in the fare, but between booking and sailing, Carnival decided, nah, fluff that guy. If he wants room service, then he can pay extra. Whilst Cunard is not high-end, it's never been a budget line either. But they're really flirting with creating a new fancy budget niche in the industry. I would rather that fares went up a little bit and the product remained the same. But the strategy seems to be, cut whatever has got to be cut, but keep the fares low. offering good value is so much better than just offering the cheapest possible service. I love the crew. From the gangster bellboy who welcomed me on board, to Mohammed the Wait who tried to poison me with tofu, right through to the invisible ninja cabin steward, the crew on QM2 are the best. You might expect them to be quite serious and by the book, but pretty much every crew member that I spoke to was full of chat and personality. They looked after me brilliantly while still being friendly and genuine. So much so that even when Mohammed gave me poisoned tofu, I didn't even punch him that much. I hate the lamppost and fire hydrant. I seem to be alone here. I hear people chuckle all the time about how fun it is that British dogs in the kennels can pee against the lamppost and American dogs can pee against the fire hydrant. Why not get Hasselhoff on board for the German dogs? Why don't the bathrooms on QM2 have a wheelie bin and a dumpster in them? It's not fun, it's gross. And if you like it, then you're gross too. I love caviar and chips in Veranda. Veranda is a pay extra restaurant and the caviar is extra on top of the extra. But it is worth it. I always have some caviar on a Cunard chip, but mainly because I just like the ceremony of it. Mother of pearl spoon, the IKEA flat pack accompaniments that you assemble yourself, and let's not pretend, caviar isn't incredible and delicious, it basically tastes of nothing. Well, very mildly of salt, like a bag of Walkers. I hate the low-key theatre entertainment. Hate is probably too strong a word, although obviously accurate in the case of Kev Orkian on this cruise. Cunard generally put quite small acts on the main theatre stage each evening. They do have a ship's company, but they seem to not want to wear them out, and they will often have one person telling jokes or singing or playing instruments or doing magic or circus skills as the show each evening. In this day and age, that just isn't good enough. I'm old enough to remember when the show was the event of the day, and seeing someone in the theatre with their eyes closed meant that we should all call the doctor. But these days, whilst I'm around half the age of a lot of the guests, I'm just as likely as they are to have a nap in the Royal Court. I love the secret glass lifts. If you've watched my Arcadia love-hates, then you'll know that I love glass lifts. The glass lifts on QM2 don't travel as far as Arcadia's, but they are harder to find, so it feels like you've achieved something when you take a ride in them. As always, I don't use lifts, only the stairs, and if you're able, then so should you. But it is acceptable to ride the glass lift from the bottom to the top and then straight back down again. More than once if you want to. As long as there's no net gain in altitude, then it's a grey area. I hate that Carnival cost cutting has reached Cunard's afternoon tea. In times gone by, if I'm on a Cunard ship and it's 3:30, then you know where I am. I'm in the Queen's room having afternoon tea. This time, well, I still went a couple of times, but after that I thought, The sandwich fillings were obviously incredibly expensive because this trip on QM2, the fillings were so meagre that on both days, all 5 sandwiches tasted of bread. The cakes were still fine, the choux pastry of the day is still the champ, and at least they're still serving proper cream with the scones. But how much is a cucumber anyway? I love the gym on QM2. It's not the biggest, it's not the flashiest, but it's got a good range of kit, it's all in good condition, and it is never, and I mean never busy. I don't know if the average QM2 guest feels like they've completed fitness, or they're happy being chunky monkeys, or too old to even raise a smile. But if you hit the gym on board, then almost certainly you'll be alone in there. Techno gym equipment is good stuff, and a particular favourite of mine is the manual curve treadmill. And as the free weights are all pretty low weight, I can feel like Hercules picking up the biggest dumbbells and loading every plate in the place onto the bar like a hero. Shame there's never anyone around to show off to, really. I hate Churchills Cigar Lounge. Now, I know it's popular with some people and the obvious reply is, well, don't go in there. The Commodore Club on QM2 is small and very popular, so sometimes you just have to sit wherever you can get a seat. And if that's on the starboard side, well, either get used to the smell of cigar smoke or come back and try again another day. I love the prom deck. If a ship has a wraparound prom deck, then it's gonna be on the list of things I love about it. QM2 has an awesome prom deck. Lifeboats overhead, branded life rings that we all know will be useless if anyone falls overboard, and that lovely teak surface. Teak? Is it teak? I hear people say teak a lot. I hate the in-room entertainment. It's 2025 and this ship spends most of its life racing back and forth across the Atlantic, sea day after sea day after sea day. But there's no video on demand. Even Iona has video on demand, Hyacinth. Even if there was VOD, the TV's smaller than my iPhone, so you can barely see it anyway. On the one night that I did scroll through the few channels that are available, guess what movie they were showing? I love that Cunard put out these lovely little pictures that they've cut into little pieces so everyone can take a bit home as a souvenir. That is really thoughtful. I always make sure I take a bit for my collection, and you should too. I hate it when Hyacinth says it's not a cruise ship. Not much more to say really, it's just tedious, isn't it? Like when Alan Partridge corrects someone for saying Hoover instead of vacuum cleaner or tannoy instead of public address system. I wouldn't kill anyone for correcting someone calling QM a cruise ship, but if we hit an iceberg then I won't be saving them. I love that QM2 is getting TLC. I reckon some people see this as, I hate that the ship needs repairs, but this is an old ship and it has a hard life. Yes, it does need repairs and maintenance, but it's getting repairs and maintenance. Every day I saw teams painting, repairing the decks. One day I had a knock on the cabin door from someone that the cabin steward had sent to repair a chip in the shower tray. This ship could and should still be on the water for another 30 years. I hate that people don't like what I like. At breakfast one morning I was chatting to two guys who'd won the trip in a prize draw. They thought it was okay and they might do another cruise in the future. Cruising is okay. Might do another cruise in the future. This haunted me for days. I should have shown them my If Cruise Lines Were Movie Stars video and explained to them that QM2 is just not the ship for them. But that ship is out there. So, there it is. If you've got a better love or hate, drop it in the comments and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Another cruise tube, this time next week. 10 things I love and 10 things I hate about QM2. Done.